Alright there, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to get Old Red. It's been way too long, and I'm so excited to have my truck back. Out this morning before the sun even come up. Been on the road here for a little bit. We got probably a good 3.5 hour drive total, so we're probably about 2.5 hours out yet. But been a long time here. Got stuck waiting on parts on this deal quite a bit, but I'm awful excited to get the truck back and show you guys what all we did here. I haven't even seen the truck since I dropped it off, so I'm pretty excited to see it myself here. And anyway, let's get some miles down. Alright, so we're only about 15 miles away from the truck here now. A little minor problem with the Toyota here. Just pulled off the side of the road. Go ahead and shut it off here. But anyway, the fuel tank's kind of dirty on this thing and starting to chug and buck a little bit, which means my fuel filter's plugged up. So we're just going to pull that off real quick, blow it out, and we should be there in no time. Alright, so we just got our fuel filter right here. I'm going to kind of beat it against the inner fender here. Loosen all the crap off the pleats. Then we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and pull this sucker off of here. All right, now we're just going to pop that back in there, and we should be good to get back. Alright, so that should fix our problem here. And off we go. Alright, so we made it here. We are all hitched up, ready to go. I think I'm just going to wait till I get this back home to kind of go over what we did here. But as you can hear, she's purring like a kitten. Got a little more oil pressure than we used to have. See, she's all warmed up here. I think we're gonna go ahead and hit the road and get this thing home, and after we get there, I'll take you through everything. So we made it back without any issues. Gotta get ourselves unhooked here. All right, so I think a lot of you guys got the hint at the end of the last video on what we were going to do with this, but if you didn't, I'll show you. If you can't tell already, that is no longer a beige motor, it's yellow. Why did my Cummins turn yellow? Well, the block was cracked. Now, I gotta make a separate trip back out there to go get the old engine and the parts and stuff that came out of this truck. I wasn't able to haul that stuff with me on this trip, so I'm gonna have to make another trip over there to get that. And when I do get that, I'll kind of take you through and show you guys what ended up being wrong with that engine. So now the shop had this motor in a parts truck that they had at their shop. And I was a little bit reluctant to go this route just because I do understand how many little things you end up running into on something like this. But it ended up working out in the end. This did end up costing me quite a bit more than I expected, and well, there's always that, but everything always takes twice as long and costs twice as much as you expect, and this was no exception. But overall, I'm actually really happy with the work that they did here. Looking at everything, I mean, they've got everything's nice, neat, clean. I do have a small punch list of things I've already noticed on here that I am going to want to go through and just kind of tidy up and fix. But overall, I'm actually really happy with the work that they did. And I'm a pretty hard person to please, so that's definitely saying something. But what we got here, it's a 3406B, and they built this thing up. They built this thing so that this motor should be good for about 600 horsepower, and they said that they had set it right about there, and I was kind of like, you know, I really don't need 600 horsepower, so they did say that they backed it down just a touch. I'll tell you, this thing, just bobtail towing my little Toyota there, then this thing's got some snort. I really look forward to getting a load on it. Now, one thing that we ran into is I was going to have them just put a air-to-water intercooler on this and leave all the Cummins radiator and all that stuff on the truck. However, they couldn't find a water jacket cooler, so we ended up going to an air-to-air, which I was planning on doing this winter anyway, regardless, even if we'd still kept the Cummins in it. But that meant that we had to do a whole new cooling pack. We got the air-to-air, new AC condenser, and then that takes a different radiator, different shroud, different fan, different, you know, there's a lot of stuff here. I'm gonna have to replace the AC compressor. They got this whole truck together, and they were hoping that that AC compressor off the parts truck was going to be a good one, but when they tried to charge it up, the seals were leaking and the clutch is bad on it. So I told them just send it and I'd take care of it. So that'll be coming up here pretty soon. It is getting to the time of year here where it's starting to cool off already, so I might not even really need AC much this year, so might hold off on that, might go ahead and get it. We're going to start running this truck right away here, so if I find I do still need AC, we'll get that done right away. If not, it might be a winter project or something when I just got a little bit more time, but we are going to have to change that AC compressor. I do need to check over the wiring on the passenger side headlight. The headlight wasn't working when I picked the truck up. It was working when I dropped it off. Now, if you guys that follow the channel know when I put those LED headlights in there, they're polarity sensitive, and I actually had to mess with that when I originally installed those headlights. So they might just have a wire backwards on the plug here. So I got to go through that, check that out. But like I said, I'm actually really happy with how all this come out. I mean, this is a pretty nice, clean job. I'm overall really happy with this. You know, they put all new hoses on. Everything's routed nice. You know, everything's clamped and zip tied, and really looks how I'd want it to look if I did it myself. So definitely kudos to them on that. And the one other thing that I got to do here is this discharge line from the AC compressor. I'm not too happy with how they got it routed back here, so I'm gonna probably, I actually had even threw some zip ties on here because it was getting stuck up in the clutch linkage and then got pulled up. So you can see the grease on here from the steering knuckle. It actually gotten pulled up and was kind of wrapping around there. So I got to reroute this line here. That's not too big of a deal. So yeah, and then the only other thing that I see here right away is they didn't hook up the hand throttle. So I'm gonna have to build a couple brackets on the pump here, and one somewhere back somewhere else to be able to do that, but that's fine. I'd rather not pay hourly rate on that anyway. So I think really for how picky I really am, I think they did a really good job on this. It was a lot of money, but you know, I'm pretty happy with what they did, and I can't wait to get this truck on the road and use it. Oh, and the headlight was stupid simple. Just the plug was a little loose. So the headlight probably even worked when they put the hood on, and they probably tested it and it probably worked. But yeah, the plug was just a tiny bit loose. It is what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get this truck ready to roll here, and we're gonna put it to work on Monday morning. All right, so it's now Monday morning here, about 4:30 in the morning, and we got everything hooked up here. I just finished checking all the fluids on the truck, and I think we're gonna get her fired up here and go put it to work. We got the side dump hooked up here. We're gonna go do a little side dump work. Engine's sounding pretty good here. We're gonna let this warm up here for a bit, and then we're gonna get on the road. Coming up on the end of the day here today. We've put roughly almost 500 miles on the truck here today. Had some pretty heavy loads on, and yeah, the truck's performing great. It's like they took that kitty cat and threw it in a bath of scalding water, and that thing come out flying. She's definitely making a little steam. Alright, so it's the end of the first week running the truck with the new motor now, and this thing runs fantastic. Has a ton of power. This thing will outrun a 550 A-shirt cat by 10 miles an hour with the same load on. So it's definitely making some steam. Extremely happy with how the engine's running. If we open the hood, the one issue that I had this week with this is I had an issue with the air-to-air boot blowing off the intercooler. It happened twice. I've got it double clamped now. That seems to be good. And the other issue, you can see it a little bit right here. I turned this boot, but this boot was rubbing on the underside of the hood a little bit. You can see where I've got the 2 spray paint marks on there. That's where the boots were rubbing a little bit. I had to finagle the radiator mounts a little bit, get the radiator a touch bit lower so that these didn't rub. That was a little bit of a pain in the butt, but we got it. Hasn't burned a drop of oil yet. Put about 2,400 miles on the truck this week, and really I couldn't be happier with the way it's running. So anyway guys, we'll catch you on the next video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe down below. Thank you. Have a great day.